Hello. So today we will be presenting on understanding the Affordable Care Act through public policy concept. So the aims of the presentation. So firstly, we will examine and implement three key policy concepts from Affordable Care Act by analyzing their impact and adapting them to relevant context, considering how these principles such as individual responsibility, financial assistance, and program expansion can be applied to improve accessibility, affordability, and equity in various policy areas. By drawing from the ACS framework, we can explore ways to enhance public services and create more inclusive and sustainable systems. Secondly, we will critically evaluate how each policy concept from the Affordable Care Act offers valuable insights, highlighting both its strength and limitation, analyze how this concept contributes to improving accessibility, affordability, and equity, while also considering potential challenges in implementation. By assessing their effectiveness in different contexts, we can better understand their broader implications and identity areas where improvements and more or modifications may be necessary. And thirdly, we will explore how theoretical frameworks shape and guide policy practices, deepening the understanding of the connection between ideas and real world implementations and all. And this analysis helps bridge the gap between theory and practices, ensuring that policies are not only well designed but also practical and impactful. So, team member, we have four team members. Uh, Karma Dolgachito, Tsawang Dendup, Sharab Galton, and including me, Tenzin Zomba. So next presentation would be done by Tsawang Dendup. Thank you.
To continue with the presentation, I'll present on these three concepts and the reason behind for choosing these three concepts. The first concept is a public policy. What is public policy? It is a common initiated action plans that are designed to address the issue of the society or to fulfill the political agenda. Because of these policies, there will be an immense impact, the positive impacts in the society. For instance, the Bolsa Family program in Brazil that was initiated by President Lula in 2023 has immense impact in reducing the poverty in Brazil. And the second concept that I'm going to discuss is about the policy problem. What is policy problem? It's the issue that is related to the society or the country that requires the government intervention. Why government intervention is necessary is firstly to identify the issue, and secondly is to redistribute the resources in the society so that there is justice, peace, and harmony. After identification of the issue, government actions are necessary, otherwise the issue will remain as an issue in the society. And the third one is a political institution. It's an organization. It can be formal or informal that actually frames, enforces, and interprets the law or the policies of the country or the society. Just take an example of the formal organizations. We have legislative body that actually frames the law of the country. Then we have executive body that implements the law or the policy of the country, or we have the judiciary that interprets the law or the policy of the country. These institutions will have immense impact on the decision-making process, and their influence on the policy outcomes will be benefiting the people who are facing the issues. Next, I'm going to present on the reasons behind for choosing these three concepts. The first one is public policy. It is an essential component of policy cycle. This rule-based framework directs the political institutions to address the pressing issue. Additionally, it establishes the priorities, allocates resources, outlines the course of actions and processes involved to address the problems such as poverty, education, healthcare, and environmental protection. Second one is the policy problem. This policy problem is essential in the policy cycle to identify and prioritize the critical pressing issues that requires the government intervention. Moreover, understanding policy problems helps policymakers to prioritize issues, analyze causes, and develop relevant solutions to address the issue. And the third one is the political institutions. Why is this important? It is essential component of the policy cycle. These institutions are crucial, are very important to implement, monitor, and evaluate the programs, and they also ensures the accountability and the transparency. That's all from my side. My friend will do a comparative analysis by comparing these three concepts with the policy example, that is Affordable Care Act of US initiated by President Obama. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, I'll be talking about public policy and policy problem it aims to address. Let's begin with public policy. At its core, public policy refers to the decision and action taken by the government to address public issue. One important insight is that it can serve as a tool for expressing common social values. For example, the Affordable Care Act in America shows how policy can promote values like equity and access to health care. A major strength of public policy is that it allows the state to intervene and regulate the market, such as insurance market, to assure fair treatment. However, a key limitation is uneven implementation. Policy may be well designed, but they don't always get applied equally across all the region and populations. When we talk about public policy, we also need to emphasize the value expression. Policy reflect communal values such as fairness, access to care, and social justice. These values are not just ideals, they shape how policy are framed and whom they benefit. Now moving on to policy problem. This refers to an actual issue that policy aims to address. In the case of healthcare, we see interconnected challenges like rising costs, lack of insurance coverage, and discrimination against those with pre-existing condition. A strength of identifying policy problem is that it helps bring public concern into spotlight. For instance, when people speak out about being denied coverage due to medical history, it pressurizes policymakers to act and include those concerned on agenda. But again, there are limitations. Some community may be left out of the policy focus altogether, meaning their voice are excluded and their needs overlooked. Identifying policy problem is essential. It helps us recognize the root cause, understand who is most affected, and decide where urgent action is needed. And through public policy, we can channel collective values into meaningful change. Although we must always be mindful of who is included and who may be left out.
Uh, Hello to everyone and welcome back to our presentation. I'm Sharaf Gelson and we will be taking you through the history and the goals of the Affordable Care Act, the policy example that our group has decided to present. Today we will be exploring into one of the most important healthcare reforms in the history of the United States, the Affordable Care Act, also known as the Obamacare. According to the research by Smith 2023, this legislation was signed into law by President Obama on March 23, 2010, with the goal of transforming healthcare in the United States of America. So, what was the purpose of this Affordable Care Act? The main purpose of this act was to increase the health insurance coverage. Before the implementation of Affordable Care Act, millions of Americans were uninsured, due to which they had suffered a lot in availing the available health resources in the country. This law expanded Medicaid and introduced subsidies to make healthcare more accessible to all the citizens of the country. The second purpose is to reduce healthcare costs. The law aimed to lower healthcare expenses by introducing preventive care services and eliminating excessive costs in the system. And finally, the third purpose was to improve the healthcare quality in the country. With new standards for hospitals and insurance companies, the Affordable Care Act focused on improving patient care and ensuring better health outcomes to the citizen. Over the years, the Affordable Care Act has faced challenges and changes, but its impact on the US healthcare system remains undeniable. Affordable Care Act, a step towards better healthcare. That's a brief overview of Affordable Care Act. Thank you for watching, and remember, understanding healthcare policies helps us make informed choices about our well-being. Thank you and touch the day.
So this brings to the end of our presentation. These are our references. Thank you so much.